So real quick, May 12th. Did I have a dream? Yes. Do I remember it completely? No. It was an old colleague. It was about an old colleague. Huh. I wonder if I should reach out. But on another note, so Christina Lopes came out with this video called How to Find Your Soul Family, and another video about how, why light workers, I don't remember, something like that. It was about light workers. But really what she's talking about is how light workers often feel like they're not, that, you know, they're not a part of their original family. And it's because supposedly light workers implant themselves in families that are not part of their soul family to just kind of help to break out of that, and to help, I guess, break out, you know, the family kind of see another way. And so it's funny that this video came out after I spoke on, you know, Mexican Mother's Day, and just this realization, right, of just the challenge that my mom is having with me, and not just my mom really, but like my whole family, with me being so far away from home, and me knowing that it's purposeful, that it's a big part of it is because our values are no longer in alignment. We don't see the world the same way, and so I'm being pulled away because I felt the nudge out here. I'm being pulled away to find my soul family, and to be around people of like-minded, you know, interests and views of life. So she's describing, you know, how you would know, and certain feelings, and it feels like it's a reflection of you, right? And clearly the twin flame is considered one, this feeling of home. So it's like, okay, I've had that. But even thinking about some of the other people in my life that I've felt a connection with, like a companionship with. You know, I think about my friend from middle school. I mean, we didn't go to the same middle school. I call him my confidant. Like, he actually was took a big part in being a support system for me when I started this journey. And how with him it always felt good. It always felt like, I always felt safe. I always felt, I mean, we would stay up and talk for hours. I mean, into the wee hours of the morning, we would just talk, and I was very, very mental stimulation. Like, I really appreciate his friendship. And he feels like he's the black sheep of his family. And when I became reacquainted with my cousin, who's technically not my cousin, like, there's, in terms of blood relation, like, we really have no blood relation, but we're family. And this feeling of when we were reconnecting of like, wow, where have you been? Where have you been all my life? You know, and that realization of like, this feels good. You know, you feel good to me, and vice versa. And you know, this person is now a big support system for me here. And so just you know, even thinking about this person from you know, my lover, you know, right, the fair, and how it felt like another thing that she Christina Lopes talks about is this feeling of like, you see yourself through them, and how I did, like, it felt like I was looking at a reflection of me, and then of course, you know, the famous moment in the beginning, that feeling of like, ew, why does this feel like I'm doing it with my brother, right? This, and then wondering, like, he's a soul sibling, so there's an element of like, you know, we're not supposed to be intimate, but we did it. And then she mentioned a part of like, you can't even look at them, like, it's so intense. And a lot of our interactions sexually intimate interactions, we're looking at each other. And I remember it was so intense, and there was always a level of intensity throughout that process with him. And even how it shifted again when this started for me, and me not being able to look at him in the eye. Like, there was this feeling of like, oh my gosh, this is way too intense, like having to start all over almost. But there was also this element of like, don't look at me, like I felt so exposed, and it's just like, just don't look at me feeling. Yeah. So now I wonder if he's kind of a part of he's a rebel in his own way. Whether or not he admits it, but he really is. But just thinking about that, right? Just thinking about the connections, and how we just kind of knew, like, what we liked, and it was a nice, like, like with all the other people. So, and yeah, I just wanted to speak to that because I thought that was cool new information for me. And the importance of I think the biggest takeaway was this feeling of like being alone, but not feeling lonely, which is how I feel like. And I think a lot of people perceive that I'm lonely, or it's their own insecurities about being alone. I feel great, like I feel good. And Abraham Hicks actually came out with another one about relationships today, and they were saying it's something similar along the lines of just like being okay with how being okay with literally being alone, and not worrying that the person who's in front of you is going to take off, because there's always going to be someone out there, that's on the same wavelength and frequency. And so you're never really alone. You won't be alone, because there's an abundance of people on this planet. And if the person that's in front of me is not for me, I know there's going to be another person just coming towards me, right? And so that element of that's a big piece of it in terms of relationships, is this element of not fearing loneliness, and just being content with the process, and feeling satisfied and fulfilled and in this moment, and knowing that it's just around the corner. Yeah. So, all right, I need to log into work. If I share more, I'll show more, and if not, I won't. I'll include the link to Christina Lopes' video. But, all right, take care. Bye. Hi. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at, inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.